For a century, the Walt Disney Company was the undisputed sovereign of the shared experience. It was a closed loop. You saw the movie, you bought the toy, you visited the park. It was the most perfect flywheel ever engineered in American capitalism. But by the dawn of 2026, the flywheel hasn't just slowed. It's screaming under the friction of a $200 billion war. This isn't a war over fairy tales. It is a brutal, high-stakes conflict for the soul of the world's largest media empire. On one side stands Bob Iger, the returning king who delayed his retirement 5 times to save his legacy. On the other, a phalanx of activist investors and tech giants who believe the Magic Kingdom is a failing 20th century relic in a 21st century data war. The first shot was fired, not in a theater, but in the boardroom. In 2023 and throughout 2024, Nelson Peltz's Trian Fund Management launched a multi-billion-dollar proxy fight. Backed by the former Marvel chairman Ike Perlmutter, man with a legendary grudge against Iger, Peltz demanded a seat at the table. The charge: stagnant returns. Peltz argued that Disney had overpaid for the Fox assets, bungled its succession planning, and lost its way in cultural wars that alienated its core audience. Iger survived the vote in April 2024, but the victory was pyrrhic. To win, he had to promise the impossible: $7.5 billion in cost-cutting and a path to streaming profitability that the market didn't believe existed. To understand the $200 billion valuation crisis, you have to look at the $71 billion mistake. In 2019, Disney bought 21st Century Fox to arm itself for the streaming wars against Netflix. It was a move of pure legacy hubris. The deal left Disney with a staggering $48 billion in total debt, just as the world shut down for a global pandemic. By 2026, the interest alone on that debt is a silent killer, eating away at the capital needed to innovate. Iger is no longer just a CEO, he is a debt manager. He is selling off pieces of the family silver, including Indian TV assets and Star China, just to keep the fortress standing. But as the walls of the physical empire are shored up, a new front has opened in the digital clouds. The streaming black hole is no longer just losing money. It is threatening to swallow the Disney brand whole. Up next, the streaming black hole. In 2019, the mission was simple: kill Netflix. Disney launched Disney Plus with a predatory pricing model, just $6.99 a month, and a mountain of free access through Verizon bundles. It was the most successful product launch in history, but it was built on a financial illusion. By 2022, the Gilded Truth emerged. Disney was losing roughly $4 billion a year on streaming. They were buying subscribers, not building a business. In regions like India, Disney Plus Hotstar was bringing in less than $1 per user. The streaming black hole was devouring the profits of the theme parks and the movie studio combined. Iger's return in 2023 signaled a brutal pivot from growth to survival math. To win the war, Disney needed to own the whole house. For years, Disney and Comcast, NBC Universal, were awkward roommates in Hulu. In late 2023, the put-call agreement was triggered. To take full control and merge Hulu into Disney Plus, Iger had to write a check that would make a sovereign nation blink. Disney paid an initial $8.6 billion to Comcast, with a final price tag likely exceeding $10 billion after a grueling appraisal process in 2024 and 2025. This was the final consolidation. By 2026, the one-app experience is live, but the cost of that unity has stripped the war chest bare. Disney is now the everything streamer, but it is carrying the weight of 2 massive aging infrastructures on its back. The $200 billion war is now being fought at the checkout screen. To reach profitability, Disney Plus has nearly doubled its price in 3 years. This has triggered the churn cycle. Families, who once viewed Disney Plus as an essential utility, now view it as a luxury. The solution: the ad-tier revolution. By 2026, Disney has moved over 50% of its new signups to its ad-supported plan. Why? because Disney makes more money from a $7.99 ad-tier user plus commercials than it does from a $15.99 ad-free user. The gilded truth of 2026 is that Disney has returned to its roots. It is a broadcaster. The magic is now subsidized by detergent ads and car commercials. They have traded the pure kingdom for a commercial colony just to keep the lights on. But as they fix the digital side, their physical crown jewels, the parks, are facing a $60 billion gamble that could either save the company or bankrupt the dream. While the movies struggle, the parks, now called experiences, are the gilded anchor. They provide nearly 70% of the company's operating profit. To keep the $200 billion war chest full, Disney has announced a $60 billion turbocharged investment over the next decade. This is nearly double their previous capital expenditure. Why such a staggering bet? Because in 2026, Disney faces its greatest physical threat in decades: Universal's Epic Universe. Opened in May 2025, Universal's new park has forced Disney to abandon its wait-and-see approach. The $60 billion isn't just for maintenance. It's a scorched earth expansion to ensure that when a family picks a vacation, they never have a reason to leave the Disney bubble. The centerpiece of this gamble is the expansion of the Magic Kingdom, the most visited theme park on Earth. Under the internal codename Beyond Big Thunder, Disney is breaking the park's boundaries to build its most requested land, Villain's Land. This is the gilded truth of Disney's 2026 strategy. They are finally embracing the dark side to compete with the edgier thrills of Universal. Simultaneously, construction is underway for Piston Peak National Park, a Cars-themed expansion and a total reimagining of Animal Kingdoms. Dinoland into tropical Americas, featuring the world of Encanto and a new Indiana Jones adventure. Disney isn't just adding rides, they are adding capacity. They have 1,000 acres of land available for development, the equivalent of 7 new Disneyland parks. They aren't building a 5th gate yet. They are making the existing ones so massive that a 4-day trip becomes a 7-day requirement. The war isn't just on land, it's on the water. In March 2026, the Disney Adventure enters service, the largest ship in the fleet, capable of holding nearly 7,000 passengers. By 2031, Disney plans to grow its fleet from 5 ships to 13. The Disney Cruise Line is the ultimate gilded business model. It has the highest margins in the company because it is a floating fortress. Once a family is on that ship, Disney owns 100% of their wallet for 7 days. But there is a ghost in this machine. As Disney turbocharges its prices to pay for these $60 billion dreams, they are hitting a pricing ceiling. In 2026, a family of 4 can easily spend $1,000 a day just to step inside the gate. The magic is becoming a luxury asset, and as Iger pushes the turbo button, he risks leaving the average American family, the very people Walt built the park for, behind in the dust. For 4 decades, ESPN was the gilded crown of the cable bundle, generating billions in sub-fees from households that didn't even watch sports. But by 2026, the cord-cutting revolution has reached a terminal velocity. To survive, Bob Iger and ESPN chairman Jimmy Pitaro have crossed the digital Rubicon. In August 2025, Disney launched Project Flagship, the full, standalone direct-to-consumer version of ESPN, for $29.99 a month. Fans can finally get every live game from the main cable channels without a cable box. This isn't just an app, it's a survival pod. Disney is cannibalizing its own dying cable business to build a life raft for the digital age. The gilded truth of this launch is its AI-driven personalization. The new app features a sports center for you feed, using generative AI to create custom highlight reels based on your fantasy team and betting picks. It is no longer a broadcast, it is a personalized sports ecosystem. But a platform is only as good as its content, and the price of live urgency has exploded. In 2025, the NBA finalized its new 11-year, $76 billion media rights deal. Disney remained the senior partner, but at a staggering cost: $2.6 billion per year, nearly triple their previous annual payment. This is the inflationary front of the $200 billion war. To keep the NBA Finals on ABC and the core games on ESPN, Disney is being forced to outbid tech giants like Amazon and legacy rivals like NBC. With a total content budget of $24 billion in FY 2026, nearly one-third of every dollar Disney spends is now just to keep the rights to games they already have. The gilded truth is that Disney is running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. To pay for these rights, Disney needed a vice revenue stream. In 2023, they launched ESPN Bet in a $2 billion deal with Penn Entertainment. But the war took a sharp turn in late 2025. The gilded truth emerged. The integration was harder than expected. In a shocking amicable divorce, effective December 1, 2025, PENN and ESPN ended their exclusive trademark partnership. PENN rebranded the app to theScore Bet, and Disney immediately pivoted to a multi-partner add-only model with giants like DraftKings. Disney realized they didn't want the risk of running a casino. They wanted the gilded rent of advertising one. By March 2026, the ESPN app is a betting hub where every play is a transaction. Disney isn't just selling sports anymore. They are selling the action. But as they turn the network into a gambling machine, they are testing the limits of the family brand in a way Walt could never have imagined. Bob Iger is a man who stayed too long at the fair. After returning in November 2022 to A Hero's Welcome, his second act was defined by a brutal reality. The world had changed more in his 2-year absence than in the 15 years of his first reign. By 2026, the $200 billion war has aged the golden boy of Hollywood. He successfully fended off Nelson Peltz, restructured the debt, and dragged the streaming business into the black. But the gilded truth of Iger's second term is that he spent his time dismantling as much as he was building. He spent 3 years fixing the mistakes of his hand-picked predecessor, Bob Chapek, and in doing so, he delayed the one thing a $200 billion company needs most: certainty. On March 18, 2026, the smoke finally cleared from the Burbank boardrooms. The succession war is over. The board of directors has officially named Josh D'Amaro as the next CEO of the Walt Disney Company. This is a seismic shift in Disney's DNA. D'Amaro isn't a content guy like Iger or a strategy guy, like the candidates from Dana Walden or Jimmy Pitaro's camps. He is a parks guy. He is the man who managed the only part of the company that consistently grew during the crisis. By choosing D'Amaro, the board has sent a clear message to Wall Street. The $200 billion war will be won on the ground, through experiences, not just on screens. D'Amaro's blueprint for the next 100 years is the physical flywheel. He plans to use the $60 billion expansion to turn every Disney character into a permanent, physical destination. If a movie fails, the ride stays. If a show is cancelled, the hotel remains. He is decoupling Disney's future from the volatility of the box office. Is Disney still a magic kingdom, or is it just a massive, diversified holding company for intellectual property? The gilded truth of 2026 is that it is both. The war has forced Disney to grow up. It has traded its childhood innocence for corporate resilience. It is now a gambling hub, a cruise line armada, a real estate developer, and a data mining machine. The magic hasn't disappeared. It has simply been optimized. As Josh D'Amaro takes the keys to the castle, the question remains: can you keep the soul of a company when every wish has a price tag and every dream is an ROI calculation? The $200 billion war is over. The Disney of the next century has arrived. And it is more powerful, more expensive, and more calculated than Walt could have ever imagined.